I'm not a big birthday celebrator. I'm not the type to make a big thing and invite all my friends out or throw a party. My close friends know this, so usually I'll do something more low-key with my family or close friends. One year in particular, after I went to dinner with my family, 3 of my friends were texting me trying to make plans to go out and do something. Not out to bars or anything, we were only 19 at the time and didn't have fake IDs. My friend Jay has a Jeep, so he suggested we go night off-roading on one of the trails about a half hour from our houses. It was this really huge state park that had trails big enough to off-road on. He had done it before. Technically, you're not allowed to, but past dark, nobody's in those woods. Since my birthday's in July, the days are really long. It doesn't get pitch black until around 9 o'clock, and I'd say that was around the time we started heading over to the park. My friend Carl brought a bunch of weed, and my other friend Joey brought a handle of vodka to celebrate my birthday. The plan was to hotbox the car in the middle of the woods and just get really fucked up. Jay wouldn't be partaking in the alcohol since he was driving. So past a certain hour, the entrance to the state park's parking lot would be coned off, but since there's no night security guards, it's easy to just get out and move one of the cones and drive around it. We just were on the lookout for any cops before entering the parking lot. Once we passed the entrance, there was a somewhat long stretch of a narrow one-way road with woods on either side, and then eventually it led to the big open parking lot, which also was surrounded by woods on 3 sides and then baseball fields and a playground on another. Jay knew exactly where to go to get to the trails, which were technically for walking, but they were plenty wide enough to drive on according to him. We made sure there were no cops sitting in the parking lot before entering the trail though. Once we were on the trail, Jay turned his brights on to have better visibility. Some parts of the trail were definitely very bumpy and tight, where he'd have to drive slowly to be sure not to scrape any trees or bushes on either side. The trails were not made for cars after all, so caution was necessary. But it was definitely fun at first, where the trail would open up or there would be drops. The bumpiness of the ride made it fun, almost like an amusement park ride. Carl lit up the joint he rolled and started passing it around. When we were deep enough into the trails, Jay stopped the engine and turned off the headlights. We sat in the car with the music playing and the bottle being passed around. The music was pretty loud too, so when all of us thought we heard something from outside, we genuinely went silent and looked at each other. Jay turned off the music, and we all said basically at the same time, "What was that?" or "Did you guys hear that?" We all agreed it sounded like a high-pitched screaming. Jay turned the headlights back on, but we didn't see anyone in front of us. Still, we wanted to move out of that immediate spot, so he drove a little further down the trail. Once we stopped again, we agreed it might have been a female fox we heard. From here on, we hung out with the music a bit lower, and we were just chilling making mixed drinks. At one point, my friends all sang me happy birthday really loudly as a joke. Eventually I had to go pee, so I just got out of the car and took a few steps off the trail into the woods. Midstream, I heard what I swore were footsteps nearby. I cut it short and went back into the car, telling my friends I heard footsteps. Jay turned on his headlights again, and he and I being in the front seats were the first ones to scream when we saw somebody standing about 10 feet in front of the car on the side of the trail. It was a woman with her hood up. We expected her to do something, but she just stood there. Jay rolled down his window and asked, "You all right?" The woman then backed slowly into the woods until she was out of sight. It was at this moment that Carl, in the back, somehow while zonked out of his mind, noticed something horrifying. I still remember the moment he said, "Guys, we're surrounded." And all of us started looking around in the woods, and there had to be at least 3 other people dressed in sweaters with the hoods up on different sides of the car, all looking at the car though. Mind you, this was not a cold night, it was the middle of July. They were all standing right off the trail in the woods. Carl in the back seat screamed, causing us to turn around and see a man standing right outside the back windshield looking in. The red glow from the taillights created this creepy red glow in the guy's deadpan expression. I screamed, "Get us out of here, just go," and Jay listened. He put the car in drive and went as fast as he possibly could over the various rocks and bumps in the trail. We were all freaking out, and the way off that trail took way too long. But when we finally reached the pavement again through another exit of the dirt trails, I know we were all relieved. Jay, the most sober out of all of us, told the rest of us who were either drunk or really high that we're going straight home. We've thought about whether those people were just a group of young adults hanging out deep in the woods like we were, but it wouldn't explain all of them just creepily staring at us, standing still. Nor would it explain one of them standing directly outside the back windshield looking inside the car, or the fact that they were all wearing hoodies on a summer night. We also realized that scream-type noise we heard most likely wasn't a fox after all, and probably had something to do with them. Either way, off-roading in those woods at nighttime was never an idea we floated again.